Thank you, Dr. Okaide Fahimi, Executive Governor of Ekiti State, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I'll start by asking you, I'll start by quoting from the Augusto and Co. audit that was conducted on your state. It says that 19,270 persons benefited from the Ekiti State Social Security Scheme, where about 1.2 billion naira was spent. And then your government intends to add another 5,000 people to that scheme. But then I'm looking at the fact that your state is one of the second lowest earners from the federation account. How do you intend to do this?
Well, government is about planning. It's about prudence. It's about focus. And it's about, above all, an agenda. What was it that I promised Ekiti people when I ran for office? I promised that I wanted to make poverty history in my state. And there are a range of mechanisms that I've adopted to do that. Because for me, governance is about pulling up the weak and the vulnerable in society. The Social Security Benefit Scheme is about pulling up a section of the vulnerable elements in our state. The elderly population that is not catered for, either by their children who unfortunately have not been lucky to secure employment, or by the state. And I think the state has a duty as a social democrat to look out for people who are hard done by society. You say, how am I going to do it? I'm already doing it. I'm doing it. So I'm doing it because it's about priority. The funds that I would otherwise have committed to other things, I've chosen to commit it to Social Security Benefit Scheme for the elderly. I've committed to free education up to senior secondary school. I've committed to providing free health care for the vulnerable segments of our population, children, the elderly, the pregnant women, and the physically infirm. So if you're clear about what you think government is, then you're always going to find the creativity and innovation to raise the funds to support that, because it's an excuse for inaction. To start saying 2 years down the line, after I've been in office, that, oh, allocation is low, I don't have this, I don't have that. I ought to have thought carefully about what I was going to do in government, which was what I did. So I knew the resources available to the state. I was determined to increase the internally generated revenue, which I have. And I was determined to also raise funds that would enable me concentrate on social safety mechanisms in the state without jeopardizing the necessity for capital projects that can help transform the state's infrastructure for better investment to come in. And that's what we've done on balance. We have not shirked our responsibility to workers. We've not shirked our responsibility to the elderly. We've not shirked our responsibilities to the young people. At the same time, we've looked after the communities.
All right. Secondly, I would take you on some of the things you said earlier in the forum. You said the projects you execute are projects that comes from the expectation of your people. And then secondly, I mean, you also have an agenda. I'm made to believe there's this sort of conflict of interest.
There's a balance. As a leader leads. There are things that my people may not necessarily want in the short term. But one of the requirements that you have as a leader is your ability to take people to where they don't want to go necessarily, but where they would appreciate being taken after it's done. So there is a balance. People would demand projects because we run an open government, we run an accountable government and a participatory government. So I go into communities before I do budgets. And that's what I mean by that. And they give a list of priorities, things that they're interested in to come into their communities before the budget is passed by the House of Assembly. And we now incorporate that into our original vision. I had a vision before I came into office. I mean, this vision was something that I believed passionately in would help my people to live a better life. So when people talk about the roadmap to Ekiti recovery, the 8-point agenda, it's something that touches every facet of development in our state. And there are those who may not necessarily agree that we need free education in the state. So I do not necessarily mean that everybody buys into that agenda, but majority of our people feel very strongly that these basics must be attended to. And it's only when we've attended to that basic, reached a state of stability from recovery, that we can then start venturing into other things. And that we're doing now.
All right, and then lastly, just in wrapping up this conversation, you decided to avail yourself to activists on social media, bloggers, factivists, and people like that. Why would you want to do that in this era? Why did you key into this line? Why?
Why did I avail myself? I'm on Twitter myself, and I'm on Facebook. I read a lot of stuff that people write. It's not all the time that I have the opportunity to respond because of the load of my work. And I discussed with my aides, as we go into election, it would not be a bad idea to have an opportunity to talk with leading lights in social media, those who are interested in what's going on here. Invite them. I may not be able to respond at every opportunity. Whatever I tell them, they will fire it off, and a lot of people will read it. Those who did not have the opportunity to come to Ikogosi or to drive around Ekiti to see for themselves firsthand what the government has done, there are people that they would find much more believable than the governor, who have been here, who've gone round, who've seen things, and who can say, okay, on this particular issue, I give him a pass mark. On this, I don't think he's done well enough. It's a judgment call, and people have been here to reach their own judgment. They were not compelled, they were not bribed, they were not cajoled. They are here because they believe that they can contribute to the developmental agenda. But as I also said to them, it's okay to be a Twitter activist, but it's even better to be on the ground to add value to what is happening in your community and your constituency.
All right, thank you, Dr. Okaide Fahimi, Executive Governor of Ekiti State, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm simply a governor, not executive.
All right, very well, Governor Okaide. Don't forget, both conversations can be found on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/channelsweb, and our website, channelstv.com. Let's take a few comments coming through on our social media platforms, as well as review the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel.
The 5th most viewed video is of a Nigerian pastor who was arrested for alleged fake currency printing.
Law and morality cannot be, they are not mutually exclusive. There has been
At number 4 is a video of a lawyer who said the recently enacted Gay Rights Act will enhance morality.
Law is made to enhance morality. Morality is the basis of the law. And even in countries like Nigeria that we practice the common law, our law is based on either the canon law, which is the Old Testament of the Bible, or the Sharia law.
The video footage of Nasir El-Rufai leaving his Abuja residence to the office of the DSS with his wife, Governor Amechi, Senator Ngige, and others is the third most viewed video.
It has not shown. I said elections should be free and fair. If they are not free and fair, there is likelihood of violence. This has happened at least 4 times in our history. In 1964, 1983, 1993, and 2011. So what is strange about that? Anybody that doesn't know that is either not reading history or just ignoring history.
In the name of Jesus.
At the number 2 spot is the video of a clergyman who commends President Jonathan for signing the Gay Rights Act into law.
And that is the decision against the same-sex marriage. We'd like to commend our president for signing that into law. It's against ethics, it's against tradition, it's against culture, it's against humanity, it's against the will of God, it's against the church, it's against everything. And not once will that evil rise up his head in this country.
The overall most viewed video last week is a video of some suspects who confessed to selling a human head for 8,000 naira.
You just saw the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. This initiative, no doubt, has taken social media and blogging to a higher pedestal. But only time will tell how many public officials will follow suit. Let's keep the conversation going on any of the social media platforms showing on your screen. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Until then, I am Victor Matthias.